All right, let's dive right into this explainer on how to connect Google Ads to HubSpot for smarter targeting and, most importantly, proven ROI. Look, if you've been banging your head against the wall trying to figure out which of your search campaigns are actually turning into closed revenue and which are just sitting there draining your budget with worthless clicks, you are in exactly the right place. We are going to completely solve that massive attribution nightmare today.
Because when you bring these two massive platforms together, it's honestly a total game changer. It transforms your isolated, siloed marketing data into this beautifully automated, data-rich ecosystem. You're essentially taking the raw, traffic-driving horsepower of Google Ads and marrying it directly to the customer relationship tracking inside HubSpot. It perfectly bridges that massive gap between a fleeting ad click and a finalized, closed-won deal. It will completely change how you view your marketing spend.
So, real quick, here is our playbook for the explainer today. We'll start with exactly why this integration is so powerful, the absolute must-have prerequisites you need to check off first, the step-by-step connection process, how that closed-loop attribution actually works in the wild, and finally, how to troubleshoot and fix common errors if things break along the way. Okay, section 1, why connect the accounts? Let's get right into the immense value of linking these systems together.
See, when your CRM and your ads platform are finally speaking the exact same language, you unlock some serious advantages that competitors who are probably still keeping their data siloed simply do not have. Instead of relying on those crumbling, unreliable third-party cookies or just basic site behavior, you get to leverage first-party data directly from your CRM. That means you can automate audience creation. Think about it. You can build a hyper-specific retargeting list for leads who, say, downloaded an ebook, but then totally ghosted your sales team. But the absolute biggest win, closed-loop reporting. You can finally prove the exact ROI of your paid media because you're syncing actual sales and offline conversions right back to Google Ads, not just celebrating top-of-funnel form fills.
Now, the secret sauce making this entire ecosystem possible is the GCLID, or Google Click ID. You can basically think of this as a highly specific digital fingerprint. The second a user clicks your ad, Google slaps this unique ID string onto the URL. HubSpot then captures it seamlessly in the background. Then, and here's where it gets really cool, when that lead eventually buys from you, even if it's literally months later, HubSpot uses that exact fingerprint to fire a powerful signal right back to Google Ads. It tells the Google algorithm exactly which keyword, ad group, and campaign drove the actual revenue. Your future automated bidding is going to get incredibly smart, incredibly fast. Moving on to section 2, prerequisites before you connect. We got to make sure your accounts are perfectly prepped before we start piping data around. You've got to have the right permissions and settings configured right out of the gate, or I promise you the integration will fail on step 1. First up, completely turn off any browser ad blocker extensions you might be running. These things notoriously block the background tracking scripts we need during the initial setup. Inside HubSpot, the user making the connection needs publish access to the ads tool. Over in Google Ads, you absolutely must have admin access. Read-only just isn't going to cut it. It will stop you in your tracks. And finally, go in and ensure auto-tagging is enabled in your Google Ads account settings. If it's not on, those vital GCLID fingerprints we just raved about won't even generate. All right, section 3, the step-by-step connection process. The accounts are prepped, so let's actually wire this thing up. The actual pathway inside your HubSpot portal to initiate this OAuth connection is surprisingly easy. Just a 4-step flow. First, hit your settings gear icon, drop down to marketing, and click on Ads. From there, just hit Connect Account and choose Google Ads. A secure authorization window will pop up asking you to authenticate with your Google login. Once you grant those data permissions, you simply grab your target ad account from the drop-down list and hit Connect. Boom. It takes literally just a few clicks when everything is staged right. But hey, watch out for this one. It's a massive trap. HubSpot cannot connect directly to Google Ads Manager accounts, which you probably know as MCC accounts. So if you manage multiple client or brand accounts under one giant umbrella folder, you can't just link the master folder. It won't work. You absolutely must select and authorize the individual child accounts that house the specific campaigns driving traffic to your forms. Keep it strictly at the child account level. Which brings us to section 4, auto tracking and attribution. Let's see how this all comes together to track your deals. Imagine this journey from that very first ad click all the way to a closed deal. At 0 seconds, the ad gets clicked and the GCLID is created. A minute later, the user is scrolling your site, being quietly monitored by your HubSpot tracking pixel. Fast forward to 5 minutes, they finally submit a form, formally jumping into your CRM. Now let's fast forward a full 30 days. Your sales team finally drags that deal stage over to closed won. Even though a whole month has passed, the integration remembers. HubSpot automatically fires back and credits that original 30-day-old ad click with the closed revenue. Loop closed. But wait, there is a catch. For that deal to correctly show up in HubSpot and actually push back to Google, you have to follow some pretty strict attribution rules. First, that auto-tracking switch in your HubSpot ad settings, it has to be toggled on. The deal stage must explicitly be marked closed won. Also, the deal has to be directly associated with the specific contact record of the person who actually clicked the ad in the first place. And finally, and this one trips up so many people, the contact's lifecycle stage must be set to the default HubSpot customer stage. If you're out there using custom lifecycle stages for your buyers, it simply will not trigger the revenue attribution. Okay, last up, Section 5, troubleshooting common connection errors. Because let's be real, tech breaks sometimes. Let's look at how to fix it. Ever get halfway through the connection steps and your specific ad account just isn't listed during the authorization phase? It's nowhere to be found. Don't panic, you aren't crazy, and there is a really simple explanation for why it's missing. Usually, when that Google authorization window pops up, your browser is being way too helpful and autofills the wrong logged-in user. It pulls in your personal Gmail instead of your corporate email because it thinks it knows best. To fix it, you just need to ensure you are actively authenticated with the specific work email address that actually holds admin access to the target Google Ads account. Pro tip here, just do this entire setup in a completely fresh, incognito or private browsing window. It almost always solves the problem instantly. So, just to rapidly summarize your troubleshooting checklist. Verify your admin access by going to Tools and Settings, then Access right inside Google Ads. Make 100% sure you've killed all those browser ad blockers. Double-check you aren't accidentally trying to hook up a manager account. And look, if all else fails, you can easily go into your Google security settings, completely revoke HubSpot's app permissions, and just try the connection flow fresh from the top. Well, we've covered the why, the how, and the exact steps to troubleshoot this incredibly powerful integration. With true closed-loop reporting now fully automated between these platforms, you never have to guess which search keywords are actually putting money in the bank again. So I leave you with this. Now that your pipeline revenue is directly mapped to your ad clicks, how will this newfound visibility permanently change the way you bid? Start syncing that data, and thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.